In this video, let's talk about the colour of your number plates. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. That's right, I'm interested in the colour of your number plate. I haven't gone mad, at least not any more so than usual. What I'm talking about is the recent announcement that from the 8th of December, zero emissions cars will be allowed to display a green flash on the number plates. That's Department for Transport speak for a rectangle at the left hand side, a little bit like the EU flag. I guess we don't need that anymore. You can have a green strip on your number plate to show how green you are. More specifically, it's for a car that isn't capable of producing any exhaust emissions at all. So no plug-in hybrids, even stuff like the BMW i3 with a range extender, which is electric drive all the time but has the ability of charging the battery using a petrol engine. That's not allowed. It needs to be zero emissions. So it needs to be stuff like perhaps my MG ZS EV, or that other electric wonder, the pinnacle of electric technology that I've got, the Axum Mega City Electric. They would both be eligible for this lovely scheme. And I've got to ask, what's the point? I remember a consultation on this taking place about a year ago where the government basically asked, what do you think of this and what would you want it to look like if it was going to happen? Would you want the plates to be fully green? Would you want them just to have the square on and all that kind of stuff? And do you think it would be effective? And I responded to that survey, and I was quite strong in my response to that, and for the reasons we're going to talk about here. And as you can probably guess already, I'm not really a fan, and I don't overly see the point. The premise of this is that zero emissions cars can be easily identified from the green number plates, and then they could be afforded benefits like they could perhaps use bus lanes to ease congestion. They could be granted entry to ultra low emission zones like you see in London or you're about to see in cities like Birmingham. They could have cheaper free parking, and you could perhaps then identify at like charging points what cars are electric, what cars are petrol and shouldn't be there. Those kind of things. Maybe we could have a series of colours. We could go full Beijing with it, couldn't we? If you've got the right colour number plate, you can drive whenever you want, but if you don't, you better not take the car on a Tuesday or Thursday. That wouldn't be allowed. Seriously though, my main problem with this, right, is it's nothing more than virtue signalling. It's look at me in my electric car, I'm so clean and I'm saving the environment and all that stuff. And whilst, as I said in my previous video talking about the 2030 petrol diesel ban, and you can go and have a look at that if you haven't seen it already, I'm fully accepting of the fact that EVs aren't the silver bullet that's going to solve all the world's problems, but they definitely have benefits, and I don't think anybody can deny that. I think that this whole notion of, oh yeah, that's a great scheme, and you know what, I'm so green that I need to create some more plastic waste by replacing my already perfectly fine number plates with these new ones just because they've got a green strip on them, just to show the world just how green I am. It's absolute nonsense. It's completely and utterly pointless as well, because these benefits and your potential schemes that could arise, they're not really all that, are they? Bus lanes. Nottingham City Council already, as far as I know, or it's coming, not sure which, allow electric vehicles to use bus lanes. And will their cameras, their enforcement cameras, be looking for a green flash on your number plate and that'll determine whether you're supposed to be in a bus lane or not? Of course not. They'll use ANPR, just like they always have, which is the same way they'll work out if a taxi or a bus is supposed to be in a bus lane because of the type of vehicle it is. So it'll ping your number plate, it'll see that it's powered by electricity, and it won't issue you a ticket. If it pings your number plate and it's a diesel, you're getting a brown envelope in the post. It's as simple as that. We don't have cameras that are looking for the colour of your plates. That's just nonsense. Parking. Cheaper free parking. Well, that'll work in exactly the same way, won't it? Traffic warden walks around the car park. They've got a handheld device that can ping your number plate and in a second tell them whether it's supposed to be there or not. It'll look up the DVLA database, it'll see the fuel type. That's how any kind of parking enforcement would be carried out. The very fact that this isn't mandatory, the very fact that EVs like my ones, like my 2020 MG ZS EV, I don't need to change the plate, so they're not forcing me to do that. And yet I'd assume at least that I'd still be able to drive in bus lanes and I'd still get cheaper free parking if it was going to be applicable to electric cars. Not that I'm saying I particularly agree with those kind of schemes anyway. I think that there are levels of subsidy for EV ownership, and there can be a good thing to encourage adoption, but we can't have state subsidised personal car ownership and transport forever. That isn't going to work. But because they're not going to force me to change my plates, the councils will need to have a more robust method of working out who's meant to be there and who isn't. Of course they will. And they'll use systems they already have. Traffic wardens already have this kind of technology. A green flash on the number plate is not going to make any difference whatsoever. Time, money and energy wasted to allow people to show off how much money they've got, that they can have a newer car than you or a more expensive car than you because their car's electric, don't you know? It has no practical purpose, and I can't actually believe it's going ahead. And even more so, I see posts on forums about this, on Facebook groups, and I've probably ranted at some of you already that are going to watch this video about how pointless I think it is, but I see people, oh, that's brilliant, I can't wait to get my new plates. Are you for real? Nobody cares what colour your number plate is for a start, apart from maybe me, I'm making this video. And what makes you think that contributing to more landfill, more plastic waste is a good thing? Your old number plates can't be reused, can they? They're going to go straight in the bin. If you're really lucky, they'll end up on someone else's car, but I suppose if they've got an electric car, they're not going to go stealing petrol. There's also the inevitability that anybody that wants one of these sets of plates, no matter what kind of car they've got, will get one. You only need to look at the misspaced, dodgy, weird font, or your tiny little number plates you get on the back of superbikes, or any of these other things that go on. Anybody and everybody can get plates that say whatever they want in any kind of style they want very easily. The fact the law says you shouldn't fit them to your car and use them on the road doesn't stop anybody that wants to do it. The modification to the law that permits these green number plates says they're only permissible to be fitted to zero emissions cars. But you know as well as I do that some smart arse in a 30-year-old diesel that's belching black smoke is going to smack these on the car because they think they're going to be clever. But in the same vein, people that, if you had like a petrol engine MG ZS, like my EV, they look exactly the same. So you're going to get people that think they're being clever by putting the green plates on. And that just shows that any kind of enforcement or anything like that wouldn't be viable, because it would be so easy for someone to fake it if they really wanted to. And the law isn't really going to stop them. I mean, what is it? It's a 30 quid fine if you get caught with dodgy plates, isn't it? Loads of people do it. I don't really understand why, but loads of people really think that by taking the space of the number plate out, it really does read their name, even if they've just got the crappiest number plate you can buy for 250 quid from the DVLA. And I'm not hating on private plates. I mean, I've got them myself, I know how much of a dickhead I am. But what I do have a problem with is, the people that think it's fine to just completely flout that and misspace their crappy plate so that it just about says the name but with some numbers in it or whatever. I mean, it's pointless. But the fact is, they can do it. They can do it very readily, and they'll be able to get these green plates just as easily. It's not controlled or regulated, even if the DVLA would like to think it is. For a long time now, you've been able to buy any plate you want online in any kind of style you want. Nobody checks anything, it just turns up. And these will be no different, which shows that it's no means of any kind of enforcement whatsoever. It's pointless. I'd almost have supported this if we still had tax discs. Remember those? And if you had a zero emissions car, your tax disc is a different colour to a standard one, then someone could see at a glance that you have a zero emissions car. That would kind of work, because you had to, when we had tax discs, you had to display them. It wasn't optional. It was actually an offence not to display your tax disc. And we'd all have them, and it would be uniform, it'd be regulated. I could kind of see an argument for it then, but the reason we got rid of tax discs is because any kind of policing was done by a camera that automatically issues you fines if you've done something wrong anyway. So nobody was going around looking for expired tax discs. You get a fine in the post if you don't tax your car. Nobody's looking for the fact your tax disc is out of date. So that kind of went away. But it would have been a better way of doing this. But relying on the number plate, which anybody can buy from anywhere and isn't really controlled, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. Seems like all I do is rant nowadays. At least I'm not talking about untested vaccines and how they're going to kill us, eh? There's definitely corners of the internet where you can get that if that's what you're looking for at the moment, but let's not go there. Thanks very much for watching. If you haven't already, please do click the subscribe button and hit that like button as well if you've managed to make it to the end of yet another rant. I'll see you on the next one.